Good day, this is Professor Resnick again, and today I want to talk about something new and I hope interesting to you all, which is capitalist competition and how capitalist competition can result in relative surplus value, which is the next theme of Marx as presented in Capital Volume 1, which is our reading, and the other readings that have been assigned to you. So what we're going to discuss here is capitalist competition, the business cycle again, and relative surplus value. And what I want to try and show to you is how capitalist competition is going to shape markets, and we're going to get again this tendency for the economy to decline and the economy to expand. So capitalist competition on one hand is going to produce two different tendencies. On one hand, for the economy, the capitalist economy, to contract and to get a contraction, that is to get a downturn in capitalism. And on the other hand, that very process of market competition is going to set in motion forces that'll push the economy into expansion. Okay, so let's see what we got here. To do capitalist competition, I'm going to assume the following. We have a variety of different industries across the economy. And again, I'm going to split them into these two broad kinds, the wage good industries and the means of production industries. And in these various industries, I'm going to assume that we have different capitalist firms competing with one another, producing a fairly homogeneous commodity across these different industries. So let me start. I'll start with the automobile industry as a concrete example. So I'm going to start here with the C and the V and the S and the W for these, let's say, three capitalist enterprises. General Motors, say Honda, and Ford. I understand there are many, many more, but it's enough with just three to show this example. So we have three independent capitalist enterprises operating in the same industry. Don't forget now, private enterprise. Okay, three different boards of directors that are appropriating the surplus produced by these different laborers in General Motors, Honda, and Ford. Okay, in the so-called automobile industry, and I'm going to assume for a moment they're producing a fairly homogeneous product called transport. You know, the transportation, moving people from one location to another. Okay? And they all are alike. So I'm going to start with, in these magics, they all buy the same quantum of means of production, say $4. To make life easy for us, let's assume that $1 is the same as 1 hour of abstract labor. Again, don't lose that. Okay. If you want, it takes 1 hour to produce a dollar in terms of, if you recall, that gold is the commodity, so it takes 1 hour to produce an ounce of gold. An ounce of gold is deemed by the state to $1. If you bother with that, just assume the state implicitly sets the value as $1. That is, as 1 hour equals $1, or $1 equals 1 hour. That's what this is. So we have here value of labor power is $2 or 2 hours. Surplus is 2, and hence the total value of cars is $8. And I'm going to assume the number of cars produced is 1. And I'm going to assume here that the rate of profit, the calculated rate of profit then would be 2 over 6. 246, that's a third. And the composition of capital, that's C over C plus V, is 4 over 6. 4 over 6, what is that? 2/3. Okay. And finally, we put over here the price in this world, that is the total value over the things being produced here, would be 8. Is that correct? This is 24 divided by 3. Let me erase this here and make it more clean. And hence 24 divided by 3 would be 8. That's the price in the system, so everybody sells for 8. I think we're ready to go. Suppose, let's just take it, Honda, it's an appropriate example. Suppose Honda takes a private action in the enterprise Honda Automobile Company. The board of directors of Honda decide that they are going to purchase additional means of production, the delta C, of say $4 more or 4 more hours. All right? And I'm going to assume that there's a new technology associated with these additional means of production that Honda board of directors decides to purchase, which is robots. So Honda goes out and purchases $4 more. This becomes 8. Okay? Now, you can say, well, where does that 4 come from? Well, partly it's financed by the surplus value of Honda, but partly Honda goes out and borrows money from banks and persuades the bankers, a subsumed class, persuades those bankers to lend Honda the additional money so it can expand the C. Or maybe Honda issues new stock and persuades individuals, new stockholders, to purchase its stock, and so the Honda will have then, in this IPO, initial public offering, will have then additional resources to purchase the C. So, goes to the bank. So you've got the 3 broad ways to finance this. That is out of surplus value of Honda, borrowing on the market, or issuing stock to stockholders, new stockholders. It gets the additional resources for the delta C. So 8, 10, 12, this becomes then an expansion of 12. This becomes 28. And next, I'm going to assume that the additional means of production that Honda has employed here allows Honda to produce more cars. So this becomes 4. Okay? Let me leave these for the moment, or leave this the same. But let me change this here, because Honda has increased its index of mechanization. So it now is 8 over 10. So this has become a bigger number. It went from 0.67 to 0.8. And in your reading, Marx spends a lot of time discussing this mechanization during this period of time in which he's writing, in which capitalist firm after firm across the different capitalist industries are becoming more mechanized. And one way to look at that is that their ratio of C to C plus V is rising very rapidly as they are purchasing more machines and, as I said, embodying new technologies. Okay? The final one I want to put on the board now is this one here. It's the average cost of a business. So that would be C plus V divided by UV. So initially we have, for General Motors, that would be $6 divided by 1, 6 for Ford, because they're similar. And it was $6 for Honda, but now it's a smaller number, 10 divided by 2. So Honda has become, as a result of purchasing more C and raising its productivity, it has become the least cost producer in this industry. No minor matter, as we're going to see in a moment. So let me summarize what we've got here. Okay? As a result of Honda's private action, it's become the least cost producer. It's raised its composition of capital, okay, in doing that. So one message is a capitalist can become the least cost producer, the lowest average cost, by raising its composition of capital. And I'm assuming here, okay, that Honda did increase its C. So it went out and it raised the C, its cost went up. But the denominator increased proportionally more so that the ratio, the average cost, fell. And that's the subsumed class of managers in Honda has to make that calculation and persuade the bankers and or stockholders that they should provide the resources because the average cost will fall, allowing Honda to become the least cost. And we're going to see what that's going to deliver to Honda in a particular moment. Next, okay? As a result of this, the price of a car has fallen from 8 to what it was to now 7, okay? So the new price of a car is 28 divided by 4. The price has become 7. Let's examine that for a moment. Okay, what's this 28? Where does this come from? Well, this is the total value. General Motors produces one car at 8. Ford produces one car for 468. And Honda now produces 2 cars at the unit value per car, 12 divided by 2, that's 6. Okay, so if I did this right, it's 12, 20, 28, divided by the number of cars, 2, 3, 4. So this is a weighted average, it's an average, and the 7, once again, is the socially necessary abstract labor time to produce a car. And what it averages over, as you can see, and this goes back several lectures, the concrete labor of each of these private capitalist producers, GM, Honda, and Ford, in this particular industry. So this is the weighted average. That's what a socially necessary abstract labor time is in this example I'm giving you of the concrete labors averaged over all the different quantities of produced in this particular industry. So, for the private time, the social clear is 7, 7, 7. Okay? So that's the social in this particular industry. But the private time is different. The private time here is 8, 6, 8. So we have a divergence, okay, in this example, which is one of the things we want to show, a divergence between the private and the social. General Motors and Ford are above the social, whereas Honda, because of its offensive action, that is raising its productivity, is below the social. All the firms come to market. I'm assuming a competitive industry. That means everybody sells at the same price. Okay, the assumption of competition, one market, one price. They all sell for $7 or 7 hours. Okay, they have no choice. That's what competition means. The market dictates the price. So everybody sells for this socially necessary abstract labor time of $7 or 7 hours. So let me then put on the board a new table. Okay, I'm going to erase this and get a new table going. Here, let me just, to remind us, put this 7 here. Here I have the revenue, General Motors